a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Porchlight Letters podcast number 2539. Today's exciting topic is, where was your family when they bought their first car? Oh, that new car. You didn't have to worry about seat belts, child seats, all that. Well, depending on when you purchase the car anyway. So buying a first car is one of those milestones that represents freedom, independence, and the beginning of countless new adventures. You know how much I love adventures. For many families, their first car didn't have to be shiny or brand new. It may have had a few dents, a temperamental engine, or a color that nobody would have chosen. None of that mattered. It was theirs. It meant they could travel when they wanted, visit family more easily, commute to work, or simply enjoy the freedom of the open road. I still remember my first car. It was a bright canary yellow. It was called Big Bird for a reason. It's a bright canary yellow Ford Cortina, which for those Americans, it is a Ford that was a four-door sedan. That's about as best as I can describe it. I don't even remember what year it was. I just remember it was bright yellow. We called it Big Bird. And I didn't have it for very long. My parents got a second car because Dad needed a second car for his job. And when they were done with it, they just got a cheap secondhand car that was mechanically sound. And then they were just going to get rid of it. So when it came to getting rid of it, I said, well, can I buy it? And that was me buying my first car. And it was a lot of fun. It was bright yellow. It had a brown interior. It was, it would have been early 90s when I got it. Might have been late 80s. I'm pretty sure it was either late 80s or early 90s when I purchased it off them, but it was bright yellow. We're talking bright yellow. It was called Big Bird. It was the only yellow Muppet I could think of. All my cars up until the time I got Sparkles, which was my RV, were named after Muppets. Yes, I had Big Bird. I had the Swedish Chef. I had Oscar the Grouch. I had Grover the Beast. I know Grover wasn't a beast, but it was Brad's Yukon. Oscar the Grouch was a dark green minivan. The Swedish Chef was a Holden Barina that was white, equivalent to the Suzuki Swift, if you've seen the Suzuki Swifts, but this was like a 1980s version of it, so very boxy. What else have I had? Had Animal. There was a 2004 Subaru Forester. I think that's all the ones I've had. And then I got Sparkles, and I couldn't call Sparkles after a Muppet name because the logo for a Fleetwood Bounder is Kanga and Roo from Winnie the Pooh, and there's the picture of Kanga bouncing along and Roo in her pocket as a Joey. So that went out the window with the Muppet names at that point. So then I had Sparkles, which was that, and then I got Bluebird, which was my Honda CR-V, which is the last vehicle I had in the States. I have not yet purchased a vehicle here in New Zealand. Still trying to figure out what I want, but at the end of my driveway is a bus stop, which I'm getting very good at figuring out how to get around on that. Mum and Dad are available for other trips if needed, but I'd rather rely on the bus if I can. Although I'm looking at getting an e-bike when the summer months come around, so I can go e-biking, go riding around the bikes on the trails and things. So that'll be fun. So that's what I'm looking forward to. As for a car, do I want to have one? Yes, at some point. I just don't know when. But, there's always the fun of, for the first time I got that car, I was like, this is mine. So I could put my stuff in there and I could drive it to wherever I needed to. Sometimes I'd drive it down the train station instead of the 10-minute walk because I had a car. I could park it there for free in the parking lot at the train station. I just had to remember when I got off the train that I had to get off at the right station so I could get my car and drive home again. Unfortunately, it met its end while parked. It was not my fault. Was not my mother's fault. I was at work and I got a call from my mother to say, your car's been hit. I'm like, what do you mean? And she had been out grocery shopping because I left it at home, left the keys at home if she needed to use it. She went down, got the groceries, came home, and taken all the groceries out. Was upstairs at their place because downstairs was a bedroom and the garage, and it was parked out on the road, but it was half on the grass and half on the road, so half on the grass edge and half on the road. And Mum was on the phone with the minister of the church at the time when she heard this crash. And she says, hang on, I think somebody just hit Helen's car. And went out there, and sure enough, there was this car that had hit the back corner of my car and moved it from in front of Mum and Dad's place to across the driveway of the house next door. That's how hard they hit it. But apparently it was the dental nurse from the primary school across the road, which was in front of the house on the other side of us. And she'd come out and apparently got in a car and it was around her neck or something. And instead of braking to get rid of it, she pressed down on the accelerator, came out of the school thing across the road and straight into the back corner of my car and pushed it down in front of the other things. And so the insurance company was going to fix it. And they sent us the report. And then Dad says, you need to ask them about this, and gave me a whole list of stuff that was not mentioned on the report. So I contacted the insurance company, gave them the list of everything on the report that was missing from the report. And they came back a few days later with a check. The car was written off. I was allowed to go get my stuff out of it, but the car was written off. And then my next car was a Holden Barina, little 1300cc, 1.3 litre front wheel drive. And it was white, Swedish Chef. And that was a fun little car. It's equivalent to a Suzuki Swift. So if you've ever seen a Suzuki Swift, they're basically the same car. They were basically the same car, but this was the bigger, wider version, not the little tiny compact version they have now. We had a lot of fun in that car. At one point, I didn't think we were going to get up Nauranga Gorge. Nauranga Gorge is a steep hill on State Highway 1 coming from Wellington up to up the coast and all that sort of thing. You get on that thing and you really got to get the acceleration going before you hit the hill to go up the hill. Well, we were coming from Lower Hutt, and we had in the car my ex-husband and my uncle were in the front seat. My aunt and I were in the back seat, and in the trunk behind us, we had, I think it was something like 30 2-liter bottles of soda, because we're doing a surprise party for my parents' 30th. And so we'd put all this, and these were the 2-liter bottles. We'd put them, the trunk is not a very big trunk on a Holden Barina, and the back was completely packed full of these 2-liter bottles of soda. Yeah, that's a lot of weight on the back end when you're trying to go up a hill and you're in front wheel drive. Just so you know, it was it was a very fun trip. We were all having to lean forward to make sure we stayed on the road, kept the front wheels on the road. It was a very fun trip, that one. I think that was our last trip up there. Might have had one more trip after that to do, but anyway, we had a lot of fun in that car. But the yellow one, I did a lot of tripping around in that, especially around the North Island and stuff. Went up and visited people in Palmerston North, visited my grandmother in there a few times. Kept telling her I was in the yellow car. That was a fun conversation one day with her. She was like, oh, how did you get here today? And I said, I drove in my car. You have a car, do you? Yes, I do. Well, which one is it? And so we're sitting in the front room, which overlooks the parking lot. And I go, it's that yellow one over there. Oh, that's nice. How did you get here today? In the car. I drove in my car. You have a car, do you? Yes, which one is it? And by the time I left, I'd driven every car and motorcycle that was parked in the parking lot. But just in case something stuck, and with Alzheimer's, you never know if anything's going to stick or if they're going to be aware of anything. I made sure the last car that I told her was my yellow car, because if I got into that, and she would have confused her if I told her it was a blue car and I got in a yellow car, she would have been completely confused on that one. So I made sure that the very last car I told her and the one I got into was the yellow car. But yeah, but I had a lot of fun in that car. There were some things that weren't great with it, but it was a car. It got me from point A to point B, and I had a lot of fun in it. And got to do a lot of driving in it. So that was a lot of fun. So what was your first car that you got? Where did I get? I don't even know what I'm up to in my notes. Okay, so every first car has a story. Some people saved for years before they could afford it. Others inherited a family vehicle or bought an old car with money earned from their first job. It may have been a tiny runabout, a reliable station wagon, or a well-loved classic that needed a little extra care. Whatever it looked like, it became part of the family's story. And yes, I did purchase it off my mum and dad. That first set of car keys often unlocked much more than a vehicle. It led to weekend road trips, first dates, family holidays, camping adventures, and visits to grandparents. Children learned to sing along with the radio in the back seat while parents packed picnics and explored places they had never been before. Some of the best family memories began with the simple words, let's go for a drive. I loved it when we said, let's go for a drive. We had a lot of great adventures in the cars. over the years and things, picnics to the playgrounds, to the zoo, to go visit family and friends, and just do road trips. We did a lot of road trips in New Zealand when we were growing up. And that was a gift that my parents gave us, was the gift of travel. They said, we will show you your country, but if you want to go and explore the world, you've got to pay for it. And so they spent a lot of time taking us to different places around New Zealand. But the cool part is that they not only taught us, the tourist stuff was easy to pick on, but they taught us how to be a traveler rather than a tourist. So to be a traveler, you have to blend in. You want to get off the beaten path. Yes, you may go see the famous sites and all of that sort of stuff, but really you want to experience the culture of the area and blend in with it. And that's what they taught us how to do. Years later, people may not remember every car they owned, but they almost always remember their first. They remember the excitement, the pride, and the feeling that a whole new world had just opened up. And yes, it has. If you've had a first car, you know that experience. Your family tree challenge today is ask a family member about the first car they ever bought. What make and model was it? How did they pay for it? Where was the first place they drove? What adventures did that car take them on? Record their stories today, because sometimes the journey is just as important as the destination. And let us know in the comments below some of the first car adventures that you come across. And with that, we are out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic, sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at I think it's 6 p.m. Yes, at 6 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow. Hai konara.